Jim, irrigation.
Yeah, well, I've been banging on for the last 2 or 3 months, Rob, about maybe you've just got to keep watching your irrigation regimes and make sure your field capacity is up to where it should be, etc., etc. And I always predict to horticultural growers that from about mid-January to around about now, first full week of April, you should have around about 300 millimetres of rain put on post-harvest on most crops, horticultural crops. Now, of course, Huey will supply hopefully quite a bit of that, and he's done not a bad job this year. So we've got to the point now where we can start to look at moving back a bit from our irrigating, and the field capacity and generally across most of the country isn't too bad at all, and where the horticulture is. A lot of the later crops, of course, you don't water them close to harvest anyway. So we've still got apples going, we've got kiwi fruit to come, we've got viticulture and flat tack at the moment. So, but the stone fruit guys, the bush fruit guys, the vegetable guys, they can back off a little bit and say that, well, that was good, and let's hope that, you know, we do get some more natural rain as we go through into the winter.
Because you keep saying that you're actually looking after next year's crop now.
Yep, absolutely we are. No, especially the last 2 or 3 months when we are creating buds for next year's crop. That's dead right. And also there's another means to that. And the next couple of months, we put the fertilisers on in the February-March period. The next couple of months, the natural rain hopefully will take those fertilisers in. I mean, they'll be in there now, but they need to be taken into a lower profile yet. But that happens slowly over through the winter. And when we really need that fertiliser for the plants themselves or the trees or whatever they may be, they're ready to go in September, October when the soil temperatures warm up, and they suck them up through the roots and put them back into the trees where they should be.
I guess that leads us straight on to pruning, because it's that time of year again.
It is coming up to that time of the year, Rob. Some guys are getting geared up now, but they need to have a look at their equipment, especially in light of there are some minor rules that have been changed in terms of safety. So make sure they've got the correct safety equipment with their pruning equipment. Fingers can come off and all those sorts of things. And they've got to, and what it really amounts to is there's a larger number of whiffers coming through, and young
just explain
people,
whiffers. I know what it is, but there's those who don't.
Yeah, the young people are coming through from various parts of the world who are keen to work, want to get some money, but also want to see our beautiful country. And they may not necessarily have come from horticulture or farming backgrounds. So therefore pruning or even picking for that matter is new to them. So it's very important that the farm owner, especially, who is responsible for this, and the farm managers train their staff well. And it may be have a week, observe them how they're going, and maybe a refresher course at the end of that week, because saws and pruners, secateurs, they can be quite dangerous if used incorrectly.
So that's the induction that we keep hearing about companies and industries doing. And
look, the good thing about it, Rob, is these companies and farmers, and they are getting much better at it, and understand their responsibilities. So it's not all bad. It's just a general reminder, to be honest.
Exactly. And of course, trash and disease.
Yeah, well, now of course the leaves are turning, and if you go to Central Otago at the moment, they're starting to go towards the
beautiful
golden,
down there.
Another 3 weeks' time, North Island should stop going to Australia and the islands and come to the South Island, Central Otago especially. Over the next 3 weeks will just be gobsmacking. It'll be outstanding. So, but unfortunately, those leaves do end up on the ground. So we've got to make sure that we clean that trash up, because what happens in horticultural crops, they carry disease on those leaves. They go on the ground, and that disease harbours during the winter. It'll take frost, snow, whatever, and then come springtime and especially early summertime, they rear their ugly heads again. So what we're intending to do and should do is to spray that trash that gets on the ground, either prior to it coming on the ground or as it's going on the ground, and with a copper and maybe a calcium ammonium nitrate, which helps to break down that trash. And there's another commercial product called Digester, and that's exactly what it does. It actually digests the trash, and it eliminates and minimises the spores that are still on those leaves to a great extent. And therefore you're ending up with a nice clean swath under your trees, under your bushes, vines, whatever they may be, and ready for a nice spring start.
Do you normally go through with a crusher or whatever just to sort of
depending on the crop, some of the crops have sweepers, and they sweep the trash out into the middle of the rows, and then they go along and they mulch them.
That's the word I was looking for, mulch.
Mulching them, and that's a really good way, because that means that those branches, small branches or twigs and leaves and that, they get hammered so badly with the mulcher that they break down very quickly and rot away. And of course, they take those bacteria and what have you that may be on them down into the soil, which is fine. It can be dealt with there. In fact, it becomes, non-toxic, as it were. But if you've got a whole lot of some bush fruit, such as raspberries and blackcurrants and things like that, they seem to gather the leaves under the plant itself just by nature. So you either got to sweep them out, or you've got to put in these products like digester or copper and get it in there and get it cleaned up. Another wonderful cleaner-upper of that, or the trash that's around, not necessarily the dead leaves, but the clovers and the mallows that grow during the winter, are sheep. And there's a real opportunity there to blend in sheep grazing in amongst your regime in terms of minimising weed and trash diseases going forward.
And you probably can borrow some or hire some rather than buying them as well.
Oh, look, a lot of farmers are really keen, especially at the moment where it has been dry for them. They're quite happy to have some of their stock placed on orchards, vineyards, whatever it may be. Just run a quick fence around and you're there. And the crucial thing is that you don't want to leave them there too long. Once a sheep starts to get hungry, they start to poke around, they lift their heads, and they go for buds and bark and things like that. So there's a monitoring need required, but growers and farmers especially are used to grazing sheep. They know when those signs are there, and they'll take them out.
Don't let them lift their heads.
That's right. That's right.